I would love to see like DC universe bring in The Question, make it a detective noir show. But I don't get this film. It's kind of like when I saw Suicide Squad in theaters. I looked around the entire theaters and it was more like something out of a fucking nightmare induced process, but I never seen so many Jokers and Harley in one fucking theater that I just was like, I hate this. But I get that when they make a Harley Quinn film, or a film that involves Harley Quinn, that it's made for a demographic audience. But when you make a comic book film or a comic book show, you don't... What is the word? You don't keep other people out from seeing it. You don't. I know that they said in interviews like Birds of Prey is made for a female audience base. Captain Marvel was made for a female audience base. Hell, they beat the fucking drum into it. That it was made for girls, women, minorities. I get it. But as a guy, I want to see good female comic book films. I was excited when they announced Catwoman. And in my mind, when they announced it, I thought like, oh shit, Michelle Pfeiffer's coming back as Catwoman? Oh, this is going to be great. Then Halle Berry was announced, and I was like, oh, I like Halle Berry. Seen her in Swordfish. What other films was she in? Yeah, I think that was pretty much it. I seen her in that film. I know, I remember it. She didn't look bad as Catwoman. The thing that just made it bad was there was no Batman. There was no Batman in that film. It was a totally different Catwoman. But I'll admit, I did love the little cameo of a photograph of Michelle Pfeiffer's Catwoman. I thought, that's a nice touch. But it just wasn't... It wasn't good. It wasn't a good film. Why? Not faithful to the comics. When I look at Birds of Prey, it just screams to me woke. Like, this is a woke film. It doesn't scream to me like, this is a comic book film. Be ready. I mean, I'll admit, at least Captain Marvel made it look like a comic book film, but it just didn't really hit the notes. Instead, it just fizzled out. Like, I totally forgot that film came out. You know why? Because people were excited about Shazam. Hell, I have the first comic book appearance of Shazam in the DC universe. I got that for $3. Not making that up. So, when Shazam came out, people liked it because it was a family-friendly film. It was family-friendly, and it was really made for everybody to watch. I mean, when I saw the Shazam family together, I rolled a tear. Like, you got a whole family together, and they're going to beat the bad guy. When I look at this film, Birds of Prey, it's just like, woke, girl power, unite. Nowhere does it say... Anywhere, this film is made for everybody. I mean, you're making the one character, Black Mask, a white gay man who's a villain. I mean, you missed the opportunity. Like, Black Mask is supposed to be this evil, I will destroy and kill everybody, burn everybody to the fucking ground villain. Like, he will destroy everybody that's around him, that crosses him. Ewan McGregor, like, in the small clip that they played, he looked like a douchebag. Like, he didn't look like a menacing villain. When I think of Black Mask, I think of, like, the Arkham Origins. Even though it was the Joker all this time. But I really wanted, as weird as it sounds, I wanted a Latino actor to play Black Mask. I know there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be like, what's wrong with Ewan McGregor? Obi-Wan. It's just that when I look at Ewan McGregor, I'm like, this guy could play an older Hal Jordan Green Lantern. I don't know why. I just always thought Ewan McGregor could be great as Green Lantern. He was in space. He was in it before. He could do it again. Instead of a lightsaber, he has a power ring. When I look at Black Mask, I just think like a Latino villain. Like, I know it's gonna sound, I know somewhere somebody's gonna be like, racist. No, what I mean is like, you can make a gang leader who could be Latino, Black Mask. You know, he could be wearing a mask that sort of like handed down from from generation to generation, where he can be, you know, this guy who's taken over a family empire, and he just wears the mask as a, you know, a symbol of power, a symbol of fear, intimidation into others. That's what I always thought Black Mask could be. I always thought that. Like, if I wrote a fucking Batman film, that's how I would write Black Mask, as a guy who is a third or fourth generation leader of a family, a mafia family. You know, someone who's like Scarface. You know, I just always thought that. Like, I look at Black Mask, I'm just like, I'm disappointed in you, DC. I'm disappointed in you. It just made me wish that Matt Reeves grabbed that character. I know a lot of people are excited for Penguin, but I'm just like, they ruined a character that they could have made a good Batman film out of. It just, it bothers me. And I have nothing against Ewan McGregor. I love his performance as Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I cannot wait for him to come back to do an Obi-Wan show. I wish they would have done better with Black Mask, in my opinion. They could have done so much more. I always wanted to see the one guy who was in Star Wars and Force Awakens, the pilot dude. I forget his name. Oscar Isaac, I think is. Oscar Isaac, that's his name. I always wanted to see him play Black Mask. Like, hearing him talk, I'm just like, he could be Black Mask. I mean, he has the accent. He can, like, be intimidating to people. I mean, he could play a Black Mask. He could remove the mask, and he could be a charming person at parties, at Bruce Wayne's party. He could be charming and friendly. But behind the doors, he could be like this menacing fucking person. He could just put on the mask and take out anybody. Like, I always thought that would be interesting. Like, I just thought that. I know he played Miguel O'Hara in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as Spider-Man 2099, which I was just like, fingers crossed, like, get that Spider-Man into a film. Because I was like the Spider-Man 2099 suit. It's like blue, and you have like this giant red spider symbol. I always thought that was such a cool Spider-Man look. It's kind of like the Punisher 2099. I have the first issue of that one. I just always thought that was so cool, but looking back at it, it's just like this kind of cheesy Punisher. Just like nothing interesting. So anyway, I always got bothered. I just bothered by Birds of Prey. It's like Victor Zsasz. the way he looks in the film bothers me. Like, I have nothing against the actor who's playing him at all. But it's just like, you look at Victor Zsasz in the comics, and you look at Victor Zsasz, like a photograph of him in Birds of Prey. There's no way that the two match. Like, I look at the guy who played in Gotham, and I just thought, like, this guy's really good. He's creepy. He has, like, the socially awkward stare at people. And he could be charming. Like, I love the one scene where he's, like, shooting at the GCPD in Gotham. And he... it's funny. It bothers me with the film. Like, you look at Victor Zsasz in the comics or in Arkham, like, he has all these scars and they're like tally marks for the people he killed, and it's like all over him. It's like this guy has like this, like, sort of like this tick, like, you know how people have when they have a tick and they start twitching and moving and stuff. He kind of has that. When you look at the Victor Zsasz in the Birds of Prey, he looks more like a right-hand man. He looks so generic, so plain. There's nothing about him that sticks out. Like you look at the guy in Gotham, like, he sticks out like a sore thumb. Or a sore thumb he probably shot off, but he sticks out. Like, you look at him, it's just like, this guy, there's something about him that just does not match up. Nothing about him at all. And I'm happy he's going to be in the next Bill and Ted film, and he's in the show called Barry and stuff. Like, and it's hard to believe he was in 20 episodes in Gotham. He was in 20 episodes and he just stood out from everybody. He was in The Flash. He was in The Blacklist, which, you know, I really like the show The Blacklist. I haven't watched it. I haven't watched the new season. I haven't watched the, sorry, not the new season, but the last season that they did. He, like, stood out. Like, the guy who played Zsasz just stood out in 20 episodes. And this guy who's playing Zsasz just don't stick out. Like, he has bleach blonde hair, which Victor Zsasz never had a lot. I know that some people are like, he had bleach blonde hair, but he was always bald. It's like, damn it, hire some bald actors to play Zsasz. You took away a job from somebody. So, one thing that I remember I talked to a few people about it. One of them was my uncle, my cousin, who is a morning radio show DJ. We talked about James Spader. Somehow we talked about The Blacklist, like, and I know they were like, oh, he's good in that show. He was great in Age of Ultron. I was like, he was good in Age of Ultron, but it just bugged me how they got rid of Ultron just like he was nothing. And they wasted good talent in James Spader. And if you ever watched him in The Blacklist, Jason Statham as Zsasz, yeah, he would have been great. But I always thought he would be great as, like, Deadshot, too. Like, I know a lot of people love Will Smith as Deadshot, but I always thought, like, Statham would have been great as Zsasz or Deadshot. James Spader, I always thought, was one of the great actors. I know he was in a film with Robert Downey Jr. It was based on a Bret Easton Ellis novel who wrote